practice and enough study time. Okay, we'll talk about the exams a little later also. So there are so many courses here in this. This is EC Council. EC Council is basically European Council body, which is giving you this CEH course. There are lots of other programs also. So we are not doing any of these. We are doing this one right now. That is Certified Ethical Hacker. Okay, CEH, right? And what does CEH cover? See, basically, it is important for you to understand what CEH is and what CEH is not. Okay, some people think that we are going to cover security or networking. Security, let me explain. And that's a concept, misconception that people have. So there are two types. Security, this is defensive. And the course that we are covering, hacking, actually it's ethical hacking. This is offensive. Okay, so here you are going to do damage, and here you are going to prevent damage. Okay, now why do we do damage? Why do we do hacking? So there's a simple reason that if you want to, you can say, stop a person, if you want to stop a thief, you have to first think like a thief. If you want to protect your bank from being robbed, first you have to understand how a bank can be robbed. Okay, this is exactly what we are going to cover in ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is the another name for it is also penetration testing. Penetration testing is a huge module of ethical hacking, and the purpose of penetration testing is to penetrate, literally penetrate the defenses, whatever defenses your website or your online platform has. Those defenses need to be penetrated, need to be destroyed, and then and only then can your hacking be successful. Okay, so we are going to, this is where we are taking this mechanism, that is the ethical hacking path, not the network security. Network security is defensive, Cisco security, firewalls, this, that, and all that. Whereas ethical hacking is denial of service, creating viruses, worms, trojans, using social engineering, hacking and cracking people's passwords, malversation, system failure, spam, phishing, identity theft. All this stuff is ethical hacking. So this is what you're going to cover in the syllabus, okay, which has already been built to you, I believe. Okay, now what ethical hacking, what CEH is not, it is not a network security program. For that we have got ENSA. It is not security analysis program, that is called EXA. It is not a security testing program either. We have LPT for that. CEH is 100% network offensive program. This is what we are going to cover. Okay, because people have certain misconceptions of what they are about to learn. So we like to clarify this in the beginning. Okay, now the important part is the speed of the class. Since we have a limited, time frame here, most of the practicals will be done extremely fast. Okay, so the class speed is like as they have now. This is not written by me. This is written by EC Council itself. Okay, so this is how they insist that the instruction should be carried out. It should be carried out at the speed of a like a climax scene from a movie Mission Impossible. Some of the tools, there are tons and tons of ethical hacking tools. The instructor will not be able to cover all those tools. It's not possible for anybody to demonstrate all the tools within such a limited time frame. So the whole purpose is that you will I'll be showing you certain tools, and there will be other tools that you can practice. Of course, once you know one tool and there are 10 tools, you can practice the others on your own. It will be easy enough. Okay, and of course the literature, the notes will also be provided to you, and I suggest that you start reading your notes also. Okay, so I'll be giving you initially, I'll be giving you all that there. Okay, so now at certain times I'll also ask you to hack a website and maybe practice your SQL injection techniques. At that time, you cannot just hack anybody's website. Okay, that's illegal. That's a cyber crime. So we have got a website for you that is called certifiedhacker.com. This website is created by hackers for hackers. You are free to hack it. There is no, it's not a crime to hack this. Okay, but try not to hack the others' websites because that can really damage your reputation and people. It is a punishable offense. Okay, so unless you are a certified ethical hacker and all, try not to just practice on anybody's websites. So we have those practice modules for you, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we will also be teaching you how to create a virtual lab, as I said in the beginning. The job of the virtual lab is to make sure that you don't damage your computer, and the job of your you can say this particular website, a certified hacker website, is that you don't end up messing somebody else's websites and damaging somebody's content. Okay, so we are going to play safe, and we are going to learn a lot of things. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. Okay, it's going to be fun also, and great. It's a great job if you can get a job in this. Wow, it's fantastic. Okay, so we are going to cover the different modules, and of course I've given you the literature of each of these modules. So we are going to cover lots of things in the current session. First, why should we learn ethical hacking? One of the main purposes is because of the internet cyber crime rate. Internet cyber crime rate is really shooting up, and the graph just keeps on exponentially rising. And now, thanks to that pandemic, the graph has gone through the roof. Okay, people are sitting at home, not having any other work, and the hackers are having a fantastic time in fine tuning their skills and using hacking. What is ethical about hacking? Okay, so usually people, when you talk about hackers, so hacker, you just think of a hooded guy. Okay, a guy wearing a hood and sitting in front of the computer and hacking people. That's the perception that
Yes,
we
yes.
have, and obviously it's always a bad guy. Okay, a hacker is a bad guy. Nobody thinks that hacker is a good guy. Okay, so that's not true. Okay, hackers are not bad. There is something called as ethics in hacking. Now, what do you mean by hacking and what do we mean by ethical hacking? Hacking is a term that says I'm going to improve, or a better word would be modify your software or your hardware in such a way that it will perform the functions for which it was not originally created. Okay, so you are either improving it or you are changing the functionality of what it was supposed to do. That's the definition of hacking. Okay, now if I hack you without your permission, that is definitely wrong thing to do. But if I ask for your permission and if you permit me to hack you, okay, then that is called ethical hacking. Now, why would you permit me? Let's say, for example, that I'm a bank. Okay. And the job of the ethical hacker, or rather the ethical hacker, can be appointed by the bank to hack it. Okay. Now, why would a bank want to hire a hacker to hack them? For a very simple reason. Okay. That the if you find out the weakness or the flaw or what we call as a vulnerability, okay, in the bank systems. So the job of the ethical hacker is to find the weakness or the flaw or the vulnerability in the banking system. It could be in the software, it could be in the bank app, it could be in the ATM, it could be in the way people enter and exit from the bank. I mean, it could be physical also in nature. And the job of the ethical hacker is to make sure that all these systems, all these flaws are brought to the notice of the bank. The job is to bring it to the notice of the people, and then final, using this concept, you can protect the bank. Okay. Now remember, ethical hacking in CEH, we are not going to cover protection part, but what we are going to do is we are going to find out what is wrong. We are going to hack it, and we are going to show them this is how you can be hacked. Okay. So that's the entire purpose, to break the defenses. This is damaging. This is totally, breaking the system apart and showing them that your system is flawed, your system is weak. Okay. So that's what we are going to cover. And why is it ethical? Simply because that person is giving you the permission to do that, and you are helping that person in finding out the weakness and the flaws in the system. So I hope that part is clear. right?
Yeah, is there? Yes.
Okay, great, fantastic. All right, so now you can see here that there are lots of data breach reports going on, and you will find that the maximum attacks that is happening. I mean, how is data lost due to environment? There is no loss of data. There's 0% loss. Due to errors, there is anything between 7% to plus or minus 1%. There's a data loss. Due to physical mismanagement, we have what 17% data loss. What do we understand by physical mismanagement? Sometimes we forget our laptops at the airport, so you lose your data. Means there could be somebody could misuse your data. They could steal your data from your laptop. That's physical mismanagement. You have data on your pen drive or on your thumb drive or on your external hard disk, and by mistake you leave that pen drive lying idle, or you lose that, god forbid, but you lose that, and some it falls into the wrong hands, and that is how you lose your data. That's 17%. Misuse, most of the people don't know very well how to use, so misuse does not come into play. But there are certain misuses of certain loopholes, and that is causing 7% of the data loss. We have 22% data loss because of social engineering attacks. We'll cover social engineering attack in a separate chapter all by itself. uh, and then we have hacking, which is contributing almost a whopping 58% all the way till 99%. So majority of the world's data loss is because of hacking. As you can see, it's a huge difference. Okay, and 58%, I'm sorry, 28% to 37% data is lost because of malware attacks. So what exactly are malware? Malware basically is something like, you can say it's a combination of two words: malicious software. Okay, software. So you remove malicious software and you just combine it to malware. This is how the word malware came into existence. So what malware does? Malware is basically, it is popularly known as a virus, or it is known as a Trojan horse, and several other things. So we have an entire module coming up on creating different kinds of viruses and Trojan horses. So we'll be covering a little bit about that also in detail in this course, where you will be learning what is a malware, what is Trojan horse, and what are the different kinds of virus makers and all that. So that's what we'll be covering here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have some essential terminologies. The first terminology that we have to understand is something called as hack value. Okay, what is hack value? Okay, now hack value is a very important criteria here. So if you appoint a hacker to hack something, okay, now would a hacker be interested in hacking it? See, remember, hacking is not at all an easy thing. Hacking can happen in a few seconds, in a few minutes. This is almost never the case, seconds and minutes. It could happen, it would take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, and sometimes even a number of years for your hacking to work. It depends on the defense of the opposite party. Okay, so nobody can hack everything, and at the same time, nothing is unhackable. Okay, so it takes time, patience, and sometimes mistake on the part of the organization that you're trying to hack or trying to penetrate, but it's not always an easy thing. Now, if it is going to take me several days, weeks, or months, or God forbid, even years to hack it, I need to understand, is it worth it? Is it worth hacking? That is the hack value. So, why would somebody hack something? Either that person should get some financial gain out of it, or that person should get, a lot of reputation. Okay, I hacked NASA, people say. So yeah, that gives them reputation, that gives them this thing, but it doesn't give you any monetary benefits. Okay, but reputation. So it could be a reputation, or it could be people, or people might just do it to impress somebody. Okay, so if you want to impress your girlfriend, you want to show off, or you want to, the girlfriend wants to impress her boyfriend and wants to show off. That's another reason why people hack. But that's really not the important part. Is it worth hacking? So let's say if I were to tell you to hack a kid's computer, a small child's computer, that has got some free games, mm, you can say pirated videos, some let's say some kind of pirated songs installed on it, and a couple of that kids school documents. Okay, is it worth hacking? What do you think? Is it worth hacking?
Mm,
I wouldn't waste my time on it. Yes, it's worthless, absolutely worthless. There is nothing, absolutely nothing. But if I wanted to hack, say, a bank's server, hmm, that has got $25 million, I think that would be worth hacking. Or somebody's confidential data, or maybe it could be somebody's say a long list of important phones or emails.
or
Okay, these
documents.
are confidential files, and somebody might hire you to attack and say steal such kind of stuff. This is something that is worth hacking as compared to this. So hack value is deciding. This is what hackers first decide. Is it really worth the trouble? Is it really worth the efforts on my part to hack this thing? That is what we call as a hack value. Okay, so that was the first thing, the notion among hackers, whether something is worth doing, is it interesting, is it important, or is it worthless. That was the first one. The second factor is what we call as the target of evaluation. Okay, that means whatever you are evaluating, is it worth evaluation? I mean, you are asked to evaluate the target, and it could be, you can say, it could be some online application, it could be a web server, or it could be some kind of you can say a computer system or something. So this is what we call as a target of evaluation. Okay, so what are you evaluating, and is it worth it? Okay, the third thing is exploit. Exploit is basically to attack, penetrate, or damage, or enter into the system. Now, exploit means that there is some weakness that you are exploiting, you're taking advantage of some weakness to penetrate into the defense. So, as it is defined here, it is a way to breach the security of an IT system through vulnerability. Vulnerability means, in simple words, weakness. That's what this is. It's the weakness in the design or the implementation or an error that can lead to some kind of an attack in the future. Okay. Zero-day attack. Now, zero-day attack is something very, very critical. Zero-day means that there is a basic flaw in the system right since the inception, right since the system was created. Say, for example, Yahoo was such a website that it had, say, hundreds of zero-day flaws. Okay, so that means from the day Yahoo website had been created, it had inherent weaknesses that nobody knew. So one fine day, somebody found out about such weaknesses, and they ran an attack, and they were able to successfully hack Yahoo. Okay, so these are what we call as zero-day attacks. That is the attacks that is existing right from day one. Okay, right. Sorry, that is what we call not a day one, day zero. That is what we call as zero-day attack. Okay. Next comes daisy chaining. Now, daisy chaining is where uh, hackers get away with database theft, and they steal the data, and they cover their tracks, usually by destroying the logs. Okay. So if you were to attack my computer, there is always a log that is created, and now this is the technical part of it, which I promise that I'll be covering. So we have whenever you enter into my computer system and when you exit the system, whenever you enter into my server and when you exit from my server, it doesn't matter whether it is server or a client. In both the cases, you create a log. A log is a kind of an entry in the computer system that says that this fellow came into my computer at so and so time and he exited the computer at so and so time. At that time, these are the files he opened, and then he deleted this file, and then he erased that data, and then he copy pasted that, and all those entries are stored in the log. Now, what daisy chaining does is it destroys logs. It erases evidence. So people can make out that something had happened, but they cannot make out what happened simply because the data that was supposed to tell what had happened, that log, is deleted. Okay, so that's one of the aspects of daisy chaining there. So hackers who get away with database theft usually complete their task, then backtrack their cover and by destroying the logs, and this is called basically daisy chaining. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about security part of it. So security part is something that we are not going to cover in ethical hacking, but we have to understand the concept of security here. And the security is created in this many dimensions. The first dimension is confidentiality, second is integrity, third is availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. Let me explain each one now one by one. The first one is confidentiality. Okay, now what you actually want is, whenever you are analyzing the security of your information, is your information going to be secure? First and foremost, your data should not be shared with somebody else. Okay, so that is where confidentiality comes in. Okay, so you cannot, or rather, the purpose of your you can say information security is that you should not allow anybody else to access their data unless those people are authorized to receive that data. Okay, this is where say login credentials and passwords come into play. Okay, so if you want to access my Gmail account, you use Gmail, yes or no?
Yes, I use Gmail.
Yes, you use Gmail, right?
Yes, yes, I use Gmail.
So your Gmail asks you for your login credentials and your
Yes,
password. Okay.
yes,
So the only way that I can get your login credentials and password is when you give it to me, right? The only
yeah,
way I
yeah.
can access your Gmail is when I get your
The
login
in
credentials.
detail.
That is the confidentiality that you cannot get in unless you have got authorized access to my account, right? So that is
Yeah,
the first part, that is confidentiality. Okay. The second part is integrity. Okay. So integrity is basically you can say that the assurance that your account is safe. I am how is your bank hackable, or is your bank trustworthy? That is the integrity of your bank. It is the assurance that you have that no, my bank is safe, my bank is secure. I'm assured that my bank is not going to steal my data, or my bank is not going to allow hackers to hack me. That's kind of the integrity, the second part. The third part is availability. Okay, what if your website goes down for 8 to 10 hours daily? Okay, that's useless. Okay, so your website has to be available. Your data, which is yours, should be available at the press of a button. So that's the availability of the data, which is the next factor. The fourth factor is authenticity. The authenticity is establishing the, you can say, the authentication in such a way that the person can prove that I am the owner. And sometimes there is something called as identity theft. Okay, where I can come and tell that I am this particular person, and I can, you can say I can create a fake ID, and I can become an imposter. I can become somebody else. Okay. So to prevent such a thing from happening, there is something called as non-repudiation. Okay. So non-repudiation is basically a guarantee that I am who I say I am. That means proof, with proof that I am who I say I am. So one of the ways is, you can say, we have to provide our passport details proving that I am so and so person, or I could have some kind of a unique identification code. It could be some kind of citizens code that you probably have in several countries that proves that you are that particular person. It could be in the form of fingerprints, or it could be in the form of a digital signature. So these are the proofs. These are the different methods by which information security can safeguard you. All right. So the elements of security now you got, that is in confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. So now the question that really needs to be understood is, why is nothing secure? Why is hacking possible? It's a very big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I was learning hacking, just like you are learning right now, several years ago, I asked my trainers to answer this question. If you are such powerful ethical hackers, why can't you create a system that is unhackable? Create a system which is unhackable. Why do you want to allow hackers to penetrate? Why can't you just use your common sense? Why can't you use your powers or your, you can say, understanding of the system and make anything unhackable? The answer to that I got in the form of SFU. SFU stands for security, functionality, and usability triangle. Okay, so let's understand this triangle now. As you can see on the screen here, so let's say that you have got a ball in your hand. Okay. So this ball, if I bring the ball, so if I create a website that is very usable, so I'll shift this ball to usability. Okay, easy to use. If I bring the ball here, then functionality is lost and security is lost. If I make my website more functional, I give more and more functions, more and more features, in that case, security suffers and usability suffers. If I focus on security, only security, making it very strong, then I cannot give lots of functionalities and I cannot give lots of usabilities. So that is why there is a SFU triangle, that is, nothing is safe simply because you cannot have all three. You have to compromise somewhere or the other. Okay. So let's say I'm creating, I'm designing, an app, a very powerful app. So if I were to create an app which is unhackable, I cannot give too many features, because the more features I make, the more bugs are introduced. The more features I make, the more doors are opened for hackers to penetrate. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll limit it and I'll create a website which is secure, or an app which is secure. But if the app is secure, that means it is not very user friendly. So that usability suffers and functionality suffers. You got the idea how the
Yeah.
SFU triangle works? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So now the next thing is, how can hackers attack? So there's no limit. Okay, there are lots of ways in which hackers can attack. These are what we call as the attack vectors. Okay, so I'll just show you in the form of this diagram here. So I can attack you by using, say, unpatched software. Okay, so the software which is not licensed, software which is pirated, or software which is there but it has not been patched regularly. So this is one channel of attacking you. The second channel of attacking is using targeted malware. Malware, I already told you, is It could be in the form of viruses or trojans or something. So those can be used to attack the target. Using social networking where you fool people into giving you some attack vectors. Next is insider threats, using something called as insider threats. That means you could find somebody working in that company and you can extract information out of that particular person. That is insider threats. Okay, the next one is botnets. Botnets are, you can say, certain softwares that are automatically generated. These are robots on the network. That is why they are called botnets. So robots in the network. Okay, so I'll remove net. I'll remove. This is how the word botnet came into existence. So botnet is basically artificially created software, and it runs on its own and tries to penetrate the defenses. Okay, next is lack of cybersecurity professionals. This is one of the main reasons. In fact, people are not aware of the ways they can be attacked. People are not aware that they need cybersecurity professionals like you and me, and they just imagine that I will never get hacked. And that is one of the main reasons of getting hacked. Okay. Then we have got network applications. There are lots of network applications which are having their inherent vulnerabilities. You can use them for attacks. Inadequate security policies is yet another reason for getting hacked. Mobiles, sometimes your mobiles are not secure enough. That's how they can be hacked. Government laws and regulations sometimes cause security, and sometimes they, because of the government regulations, there is or rather due to the proper lack of government regulations, you can get into the security. Okay, then we have complexity of the computer infrastructure. Computers and networks are very, very complex, and since there are so many factors there, there is always a chance that something might be, people might forget some aspect or the other, and because of that there is high chance of getting penetrated. Okay, something called as hacktivism. I'll cover hacktivism in detail in the next few slides. So these are hackers and activists, combination of that. I'll talk about that in detail. We have got something like virtualization and cloud computing. Cloud computing is storing the data online. We do that all the time now. And finally, organized cybercrime. This is a group of hackers that come together and hack. So these are the different methods by which a system can be attacked or can
Okay,
be hacked.
I want to ask a question.
Yes, you have a
On
question?
this method, yes, on this method, which of these hackers use the most to
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you clearly. Can you please repeat what you said?
Okay, I said on the method you just listed, which of these does hackers use the most to penetrate?
Which of these are most what?
Those
Sorry.
those those ones you listed, those information vendors, which of them does hackers use the most
Uh-huh.
to penetrate?
I I cannot uh, understand something wrong with your voice. Can you bring the mic closer, please?
Okay. I
Yes, please.
said on what you just listed on the top vendors information.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? Which of them does hackers? Which do hacker use the most to penetrate?
Which hacker is most penetrable? Okay. See, so I'll tell you, you can say there are two types of hackings which are really, really effective. One of them is what we call as social engineering. Okay, there is an entire chapter dedicated to this. And second is hacking and cracking, where we will be hacking people's passwords or cracking them. So either we are able to hack means you will have to use permutation combinations of passwords until you get the right password. That is hacking. And cracking means reset or delete the existing password. Okay. So we'll be showing you the methodologies of doing both of these. Okay. So these are some of the most effective methods. And see, it's like what is effective depends on what you are trying to do. Okay. Sometimes it's possible that the opposite party has created a system so powerful that it is virtually unhackable. In that case, what you can do is you can try to penetrate with the virus. Okay. Sometimes the virus might work, but what if I have got a very powerful antivirus? In that case, that virus might not work, but they have some data on the cloud. In that case, you use this. So the answer is it all depends on what is your target. So who is your target and what kind of defense do they have? That will decide your hacking. Now, so your first goal, and that is going to be our, you can say the biggest part of our the thing is you have to first of all gather information about your target before you can decide how you can hack that particular person. Okay, a good hacker will spend 98% of their time in studying that target and 2% of the time in actual hacking. It is that important. Okay, that's a huge thing because you have to understand your target before you can hack, right?
Yeah.
That answers your question.
Yes, yes, very well.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yes. Now, what are the goals and objectives? Why would somebody hack? Okay, so either they would have, some motives, they should have some goals, and they should have some objectives.
Mm.
We'll be covering that in great detail in the next few slides. So I'm just going to skip that. Okay. Uh, Now, what are the threats to the information security? The first kind of threat, that how can I lose the data? One of the ways that I can lose my data is due to natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, and hurricanes or whatever. The second way is, as I mentioned earlier, I could lose my laptop, I could lose my pen drives or something. So, or it could be some sabotage, or somebody could have broken my devices. So that's another physical threat. Or somebody would just walk into my office and steal my data and go away, copy and paste and run away. That's physical method of stealing data. And third is human threats. This is the most dangerous one, where your hacking can be done because of hackers, because of insiders, social engineering, as I covered, and lack of knowledge and awareness. This is the worst of them. Okay, people are not aware what is going on, and this is why world's 80% of the systems are hacked simply because people don't understand that what are the ways in which they can be hacked. Okay, information security threats can be of several types. We can have network threats, we can have host threats, and we can have application threats. Okay, so network threats can be in the form of gathering the information, sniffing, collecting data in the form of SQL injections, ARP poisoning, password attacks, and all that. So these are attacks coming from the network into the system. Host threats come in the form of malware attacks, target footprinting, getting access or giving denial of services. These are the different forms in which you can attack in host threats. And application threats can be in the form of improper coding. That means data validation was not done properly, or authentication was not done properly, and some kind of code was insecure, and it is easy to penetrate. Or it could be cryptography attacks, it could be buffer overflow attacks, and a lot of other parameters that will be covered in application threats. Okay. Now, today it is not necessary for people to attack one country and the other. We don't need nuclear bombs. If you really want to destroy a country, you just have to destroy their share market computers, and your work is done. The entire country can come to a standstill, or you can damage their military servers. You can destroy their satellites, and these are the ways nowadays the battles are being fought. This is called as information warfare. It is no longer necessary for people to use bullets and guns and missiles and rocket launchers, and all. You can destroy people just by sitting in on a computer and on a laptop and destroy the entire economy of the country. This is how dangerous situations have become now. Okay. Now we have got several types of security threats there. That is, we have Now, two types of IP addresses: IP version 4 and IP version 6. Now, what do we mean by an IP address? So, as I said, as we come to it, I'm going to explain that IP address is basically Internet protocol. Hmm? Internet protocol address, and what it does is it has values like 192.168.1.5 or whatever. Okay, so this particular thing is nothing but the number that is assigned to a particular network resource. Okay, so each network resource is given a particular number. So this is the IP address. Now this is the IP address of one of my machines. So this could be, say, PC number 5, and the other one would be, so PC number 7, and so on and so forth. So you could have several IP addresses. They have names. So names are understood by us humans, and IP addresses are understood by routers and switches. Okay, now routers and switches are basically devices which are used, their entire purpose is to connect one computer with another. Okay, so when you connect one computer with the second computer, that is called a network. Hmm? And when we have, say, several networks interconnected, now we need to route the signal from one place to another. Routing or sending the signal from one place to another is handled by routers. Okay, and connections of one computer to another is done by a hub or a switch. Okay, is this clear, or I hope you have understood what I'm trying to cover here.
Yes, I understand.
Getting it?
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so that was the, as far as the IP address is concerned. Now, I already covered hacking versus ethical hacking in the beginning. So yeah, there are two types of hackers. One is you can say a bad guy, and there is a good guy. We'll cover this in detail in the next few slides when we talk about the different kinds of hackers. There will be several types of hackers, 8 different types of hackers, not just 2 different types. Okay, now why is ethical hacking such a big business? There is a good reason behind it. Okay, and that reason is that there is loss due to hacking. So, what are the losses that can happen because of hacking? So, let's study that. Because of hacking, we could have the loss of information. Information can be lost. My client's data can be lost. If my client data is lost, my client will be upset with me, and because of that, I will lose revenue. When revenue is lost, my business is lost. Business is lost, reputation is lost, and now it is said that as of today, there is more than 1.1 trillion dollars of loss because of hacking. Huge, and it's trillions of dollars lost annually worldwide due to hackers. So it is cheaper to hire an ethical hacker so you can prevent this kind of data loss. This is why hacking is in such demand today. Not hacking, ethical hacking is in demand. Okay, there is no demand for hacking. Nobody knows who the hackers are, because if they are known, then they are behind bars. It's really that simple. Okay, so a hacker is a person who illegally breaks into the system without authorization. The purpose of a hacker is to destroy the data, steal the data, or perform malicious attacks. Okay, hackers hack for several reasons. I will be covering the several reasons in a short while. Okay, and there are several types of hackers which I'll be covering, including hacktivism. Okay, now there are phases of hacking. The phases of hacking always starts with the first one, that is the reconnaissance section. Then comes The second one, that is scanning. We have gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing the tracks. Okay, so first let's talk about reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is nothing but gathering information about the attack. So there are two types of information gathering. One is passive information gathering, and second is active information gathering. In passive information gathering, you just go online. We'll cover this in great detail. You just go online and you check the details about a particular person. You are not getting in touch with that person. So that's passive, where you are not directly involved. In active reconnaissance, you will actually have to physically interact with that computer or directly launch an attack, and there is a good chance of getting caught here in the active reconnaissance. Okay, second is scanning. Now, scanning means that is the second phase. Scanning is divided into three sections. One is the pre-attack phase. Second is the scanning of the ports. We'll be covering these, and the third is extracting the information from them. Okay, so we scan the computer or the device that we are planning to attack remotely or sometimes nearby, and we gather the information, and then final will launch the attack. That is called as scanning. The next one, sorry, excuse me, it's gaining. The third one is gaining access. Gaining access. Now that you have done your reconnaissance work, you have done the scanning work. Now it is time for you to launch the attack using hacking tools, and you can attack the operating system. You can penetrate the defenses, and you can use the cracking and the hacking techniques to gain access within the system. Now, after gaining the access, what is the next thing? You will go away, because you cannot stay there for a long time. If you stay there for a long time, you will get caught. But then what if you want to come back again? In that case, the next part is maintaining access. So here, you maintain the access when the attacker tries to, you can say, take the ownership of the program. So what you will do is, you will basically create, you can say, some kind of an entry system. That is what we call as a backdoor entry. So in the future, if you want to attack my computer, today you successfully attacked my computer. So what you will do is, you will write a hidden code there, and with that code you can come back again and again. That is called as a backdoor entry into my computer system, in the form of backdoors, in the form of rootkits, or in the form of trojans. Okay. Then we have got, you can manipulate the data, and you can stay there. Now, so that system is, excuse me, that system is compromised, and that system is always hackable. Okay. And finally, you have, now that you have got the data, if you don't want to be caught, the hacker finally, before leaving, has to clear the tracks. Okay. So what they did, why they did, and how they, they just get rid of the systems logs. As I mentioned earlier, they delete the logs, or they override the logs, so that nobody gets suspicious that something like this, something malicious has happened. Okay. So that's how this is done. All right.
Okay.
So so far good. So good. Are we on the right track? Any questions?
No questions. No
Okay,
question. I will
great. Good. We're
ask
doing good.
questions.
All right. So now the next thing is, attackers are exploiting different kinds of vulnerabilities. So there are four types of system attacks. The first one is attacking the operating system. What are the operating systems that we have? Yes, please. Can you tell me the types of operating systems that we have?
Type of operating system like Windows, iOS.
IO. Okay. That was, yeah. And then we have Android.
Yeah, we have Android.
Hmm, okay. And
Mac.
several others. Yeah. Okay. So that way there are lots of, I mean, these are the three of the most popular ones in the whole world right now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are the operating systems that we have. And so one method of attack is the operating system attack. The second is due to misconfiguration. This happens when different kinds of security professionals don't configure properly. The third type of attack is attacking software or the applications, and the final one is the shrink wrap code attacks. Okay, so let's talk about the operating system attacks. As I mentioned earlier, the hackers are first trying to gain access.
Yes.
Second is they use operating system vulnerabilities, and third is they launch an attack. Okay, so first is they will try to somehow or the other find the flaws in the system vulnerability, and they will try to gain access. Once they have gained access, they will, you can say, how do they gain access? Because of the vulnerabilities either in the operating system or because the unpatched operating system. And how will they get operating system attacks? So they will be using either protocol implementations or attack into the authentication systems, that is password attacks. File system security can be damaged, and finally encryption or cracking the password mechanism can be used to gain the access. Okay, misconfiguration attack is, you can say, simply because somebody has not configured, or the, you can say, the networking professionals have not done a good job, and because of that the system can be penetrated and the defense is weak. Okay, so this is misconfiguration attack. The application level attack is due to two main reasons. One is there is no error checking. So if there are, you can say, a mechanism that allow people to penetrate, then they can penetrate due to buffer overflow attacks, information disclosure, cross-site scripting, session hijacking, denial of service attacks, and SQL injection attacks. Besides that, if I wanted to attack a system, I could do it using something called phishing. We will cover that into details. Phishing is pulling people into giving away their passwords. Then we have session hijacking,
Sorry,
MITM, or man in the middle attack. Yes, please.
what do you say is phishing? Can you explain phishing?
Phishing. Okay. You want me to give you detailed explanation of phishing right now? Okay.
Yes.
Phishing. So phishing is basically creating. I would create a fake website, and using that I could fool you into giving me your password. So let's say I'll create a website that looks just like gmail.com, or a website that looks just like facebook.com. Okay, and I will
Just
I will
like a
send you the
clone.
link. Yeah,
A clone, just like a clone website.
cloning, yes,
Okay.
cloning a website, exactly identical website, and
Okay.
then I will ask you in that website. I'll send you the link, and here I'll tell you enter your username and enter your password. So as soon as you enter your username and your password, I got, okay, both the information will come to me. So essentially, what I did is I created or I cloned a website. Okay, I'll be showing you how to do that. You can clone your website, and with the cloning mechanism, you can fool people into giving away their username and password. Okay, this
Okay.
is in fact one of the easiest ways, and this is part of your chapter 6, that is social engineering, where we'll be covering this in detail. Okay, so these are some of the important aspects of getting hacked. And now the next one is session hijacking. Session hijacking means, now what does that mean is, let us say that you are right now, you are logged into your Gmail account. Okay, it is no longer possible because Gmail is very secure now. But just assuming that Gmail, you were on your Gmail or your Facebook account.
Okay.
Okay, so you protected. You're working on Facebook right now. You're online. Okay, that is, in other words, I can say that your session is active. Okay, now your session is going on. So obviously you are logged in, and when you are logged in, there is a section called as cookie, which is storing your password. How can you log in? Through your password only. So it has temporarily stored your login credential. It has temporarily stored your password somewhere. Now what we do here in session hijacking is, when your session is live, I will hijack your session. I will get into your session, and I will pretend that I am you, and through that I will be able to get into your system. So one way is hijacking your session. The second way is using something called as denial of service. In denial of service, that is also called as the DOS attack, okay, or denial of service attack. So let us say that I am not able to hack you. I am not able to penetrate you. Defenses are very, very strong. Then what I will do is I will just destroy your data, or I will just temporarily destroy your system or bring down your system. Okay, that is what we call as the DOS, or denial of service attacks, in which you temporarily or sometimes even permanently damage the opposite person's colleague's website or the computer, so that it is not able to do anything. It is damaged.